Hello and welcome. Today, we're digging into a really fascinating question. Why do some leaders seem to thrive in chaos while others just crumble? Well, the answer often comes down to two things that are deeply connected: resilience and emotional intelligence. We're going to break down how these aren't just buzzwords, but are actually practical, powerful tools for leading in our complex world. So let's get right into it. This statement really hits the nail on the head. For the longest time, the assumption was that the best leader was simply the one with the most technical skill. The smartest person in the room. But what we've seen time and time again is that that's only half the story. The leaders who really shine, especially when things get tough, have something more. And that's something more. It's emotional intelligence. The real key to understanding this comes from the groundbreaking work of Daniel Goleman. His research, which was famously published in the Harvard Business Review, gives us this incredible framework that really pinpoints what separates a good leader from a truly great one. Now, what's so powerful about emotional intelligence, or EI as you'll hear it called, is that it's not some kind of magical, innate talent you're either born with or you're not. Goleman's research actually breaks it down into 5 distinct capabilities. And the best part? These are skills that anyone can learn and strengthen over time. So let's break them down. So here they are: self-awareness, self-regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. It helps to think of these almost like a staircase. Each step really builds on the one before it, and together they lead up to a much more complete and effective style of leadership. Everything, and I mean everything, starts right here with self-awareness. It is the absolute bedrock of emotional intelligence. And this goes way deeper than just knowing you feel happy or sad. It's about having a really candid, honest understanding of what makes you tick: your emotional triggers, your core strengths, and maybe most importantly, your limitations. And here's why that's so critical. A truly self-aware leader can see the ripple effect their own behavior has on everyone around them. They get that their stress can create a stressed out team, just like their own confidence can be contagious. They're not trying to be perfect. They actually understand their weaknesses, and that makes them so much more authentic and trustworthy. Okay, so once you have that foundation of self-awareness, the very next step is self-regulation. You could think of it this way: if awareness is about knowing what you're feeling, regulation is all about managing what you're feeling. It's that ability to hit pause, to control those gut impulses, and to stay composed when the pressure is really on. And this is precisely why self-regulation is a non-negotiable for leaders. Think about a crisis. Everyone's eyes are on the person in charge. A leader who panics is just going to create a panicked team. But a leader who can regulate their own response, who stays calm and focused, well, they instill a sense of confidence that lets the entire team navigate the storm effectively. That's resilience in real time. So with awareness and regulation in place, we come to our third capability: motivation. But we have to be really specific here. This isn't about being motivated by a bigger bonus or a corner office. This is a deep, internal drive to achieve for the sake of achievement itself. It's about having a real passion for the work and an unshakable sense of optimism, even when things go wrong. This right here is the engine that drives everything forward. Because setbacks are going to happen, right? They always do. This internal motivation is what fuels persistence. And a leader with this kind of drive doesn't just push themselves, they inspire that same fire, that same sense of shared purpose in everyone on their team. And that's how you build a resilient culture. So the first 3 skills were all about looking inward. Now, with empathy, we turn our attention outward. It's really important to understand that empathy is not about agreeing with everyone or trying to make everybody happy. It's the skill of thoughtfully considering where other people are coming from and trying to understand the why behind their feelings and their actions. And the payoff for this skill is just huge. Empathy is basically the glue that holds trust and collaboration together. When your team members feel truly seen and understood, their engagement and loyalty go through the roof. It is an absolutely essential skill, especially when you're leading diverse or cross-cultural teams. And that brings us to our final capability: social skill, which is really where everything we've talked about comes together. This is emotional intelligence in action. It's the ability to take all that self-awareness, regulation, motivation, and empathy and channel it into building relationships, managing conflicts, and ultimately inspiring people. So, a leader who's strong in social skills isn't just friendly. They're expert communicators, they're persuasive, they can rally a team around a shared vision, they can negotiate tough situations, and they can build the critical networks needed to get things done. It really is the culmination of the whole package.
All right, so that's the theory. But what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's take a look at a field where the stakes don't get much higher: public health. In this space, emotional intelligence isn't just a nice to have, it is absolutely mission critical. I mean, think about it. In public health, leaders are constantly dealing with crises. Let's say there's a new outbreak. A leader with high EI can empathize with the public's fear, self regulate to make calm, fact based decisions, and then use their social skills to coordinate between government agencies, hospitals, and the community. They build a truly resilient response instead of just a reactive one. So, when you put the theory and a real world example like that together, you start to see this really clear progression, almost like a powerful chain reaction. The impact of emotional intelligence starts with the leader, but it never, ever ends there.
It always begins with the individual leader. When a leader makes a real commitment to developing these five capabilities, self-awareness, regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills, they set a totally new standard for what's possible. And what happens is that leadership style becomes contagious. It creates a culture where people feel safe, they feel understood, and they feel motivated. They start practicing these same skills with each other, and that builds this incredible foundation of trust and mutual support. And the ultimate result of that? Well, that emotionally intelligent team becomes a highly effective, highly cohesive unit. They're able to build stronger, more responsive, and more resilient systems. In a field like public health, that directly translates into better outcomes and safer communities for everyone.
And that brings us right back to where we started. You see, resilience isn't some separate skill you work on over here while you work on emotional intelligence over there. Resilience is the outcome of practicing emotional intelligence. True, sustainable resilience in a leader, in a team, in an entire system grows directly from that fertile ground of EI. One truly fuels the other.
So I'll leave you with a question to think about. As you look at these five core skills, which one stands out to you as your priority for development right now? Because just taking a moment to answer that question for yourself, well, that's the first real step toward building greater resilience in everything you do. Thanks so much for tuning in.